Suspend your disbelief, your rational, analytic mind, just for a minute, just for the length of this podcast. What if all I am about to tell you is the truth? What if the information you will be provided is from a divine source? Just for this time, I am your Axis Mundi. Consider this podcast your channel, your second opinion. When I do a reading, something larger than myself is working through me. So ask what you wish. This is your channel, your doorway to the divine. Welcome to you to John's Tarot. Welcome to you from wherever in the world you may be listening today. Welcome to you from Montana.
You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Welcome to you from Edinburgh, Scotland.
Try to relax. This will feel a little weird.
Welcome to you from the United Kingdom.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
Welcome to you from the Philippines, Mabuhay, John's Tarot. Welcome to you from Ireland.
You are talking to a man who has laughed in the face of death, sneered at doom, and chuckled at catastrophe.
Welcome to you from Sweden.
Hello. Hello.
Welcome to you from China, Shay Shay. Welcome to you from Canada.
Are you trying to give me the double talk?
Welcome to you from Belgium.
Now, don't make any more mistakes.
And welcome to you from Bangladesh.
Certainly. If at first you don't succeed, keep on sucking till you do succeed.
I certainly have some worldwide listeners. That always fascinates me. So I would be remiss if I didn't come right out and say that we are going to have to address the worldwide economic upheaval as introduced by the government here in the United States. Now, I'm not responsible for that, and I always said I'm not going to get involved in politics, but the economic distress I think we need to address, and I'm going to go ahead and do that in the tarot portion. Also, I want to say if you want to be a guest here on John's Tarot and do an interview, please let me know. Just send a little note over, leave it on my webpage, johnstarot.net. And there's a couple of contact buttons, and leave me a little email, and we'll set up an interview. Also, if you would like a private reading, I think we could set up an appointment for that. And again, go to johnstarot.net and hit the contact button and send me a little note, and we will set up an appointment. I have PayPal. And it could be done through PayPal because, in the old days when they did tarot readings, they would give the guy a chicken or something. Well, I don't need a chicken, not yet. But we have to. There's an exchange of energy here, and we just have to make it fair. This week, I have an interview, one of my first interviews done with the Astral Travelers Institute with Kevin Konkolics and Bret. It was one of my first interviews, and the beginning is a little wonky, but it gets because it was one of my first interviews and it was done on Zoom. But it comes out quite well, and the interview is really quite interesting. So let's go over to the interview section. Hi, welcome to John's Tarot Special Edition. Today we're going to have an interview with the founders of the Astral Travel Institute, Kevin Konkolics and Bret. Kevin had been experimenting with astral projection for many years with differing levels of success. One time he had the opportunity to experience an ayahuasca experience, and afterwards got a little flash of enlightenment that said, if what you're currently doing is not working, try something different. And he tried something different and was able to achieve an out-of-body astral projection experience. His partner, Bret, had also been experimenting for many years with different levels of spirituality. And he thought there had to be more to life than what he was experiencing. Are there other realms to life? Other realms that we are led not to believe? Realms of astral projection, astral realms? Let's join the interview and find out. My interview starts a little late. I lost a little bit of the introduction where I introduced the guys. They were very nice too, and it was a very nice interview. And we joined Kevin as he describes Astral Travel Institute and what you can expect. I'm sorry about that, guys. Go ahead, continue.
And it's a system that we experimented over 3 months to figure out what works, what doesn't work, what are the objects that we can get rid of. And from our experimentation, duplication, and teaching people, we have many students that have an out-body experience within the first week, the first couple nights, the first night. It's a very duplicable system. So that's our primary focus with Astral Travelers Institute. Then from there, like Bret mentioned, we want to get to the bottom of some of these questions. There's a lot of hoo-hey, he said, she said, but nothing concrete. And once we get enough feedback from the community, we'll be able to put these reports together and start to say, this is what will happen, that's going to happen, and this is how you can articulate this experience. And that's what we're all about here.
And what would astral traveling out of the body, what would it specifically that be good for? What am I going to look for beyond the veil? What are the advantages?
It's very, there's a lot that we can say about this, but I'll be quick and sharp. It's really your intentions. It's really what you want to get out of it. For me specifically, I just want those illuminating insights. Every time I go out of body, I have an experience that's not the same I had the night prior. And I have these questions that formulate, that percolate up in my conscious. What does this mean? How can I move forward through this? Everything's energy, and that's all there is to it. Like, what's my role in the big thing? You know, we say it all the time at ATI. Astral projecting leads to more questions than answers. And for me, I love those questions because those questions have an answer, and those answers illuminate my consciousness, and that allows me to grow as a person.
What you can use it for is kind of a loaded question because it's practically endless. You're going out of body into a myriad of different, or you have the ability to, into a ton of different energy. It's almost like tuning your radio frequency. Like right now we're connected to Earth, and you tune away from that as that station disappears and other ones pop up. You're focusing your energy in something that's completely different. Some can look extremely alien. It can be a way to explore divinity or that concept of it. Dead loved ones. You can combat your own personal fears, things like that. It's a way to explore from your bedroom, right? It's one of the, you don't need really that much for it. You don't need to spend a ton of money. You don't need to buy a boat or anything. You just do it from your bed, and you're able to go into places that no one can really possibly imagine.
Is astral travel, is that anything like remote viewing?
Well, remote viewing, you're kind of in a trance-like state. You're getting impressions, at least from my understanding, from what I've read. And the CIA had also looked into this, but you get impressions of a site, right? It's like some people might see like symbols or like the shape of something, and then they slowly describe that or write it down, with usually behind a double-blind kind of test where they don't really know, they don't have any previous information of what their target is going to be. This is a bit different though, because you are gone completely. Like you're not in Kansas anymore when it comes to this. You are in another completely different area and energy, but you feel there as you are right now talking to me. Like that's how real it is. It brings up the question of, okay, what is reality in that sense? If you can experience something completely different with the same quality that you experience here, it's really strange. But it's a big step away from remote viewing. You are in somewhere else completely. This physical dimension basically is gone.
And today's science is pointing that remote viewing, you're actually tapping into that unified field. That's today's leading theory. Because with remote viewing, like Bret said, you're not physically going there. You're getting an impression. The concept is what's happening here and what's happening there is happening at the same time. It only separates by a distance. And within the quantum field, within energetic field, distance is irrelevant. It's happening now simultaneously. So you tap in your consciousness to the unified field, the matrix, the divine matrix, whatever language you use to describe this. And that field is connected beyond space, and you can understand, get those impressions instantly. And that's the concept of remote viewing, where today's leading theory is at.
I was reading on your website, Kevin, you were trying to do this for some time as a adolescent, as a young person, and then you hit on a method, try something different. And what was the different thing that made the difference for you?
Well, I believe we hear it all the time. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over, expecting a different result. And that's where I was personally within my practice. I tried it on and off throughout my adolescence, through my young adult years. And it wasn't until last year I had a ayahuasca experience. And coming back from it, I just knew I wanted to astral project. Not just once, not spontaneously, but understanding it's part of my identity. I do it consistently. So I tried it 10 months every single night. Not once did I AP. I got close. I had energetic experiences, but nothing out of body. And that's where I started going insane. I'm doing this day in and day out without the results I wanted. When the student's ready, the teacher appears. And that's where I heard that saying, if you're not getting the results you want, try something different, and just resonated with me. And I started to look for other methods. That journey, John, led me to Bret. Bret led me to understanding this methodology that we now incorporate within our Wake to Projection blueprint. And that's the course that we developed over 3 months. And I'm just like, this is what, when you're intentional, things fall in place for a reason.
Now, there was also questions on the website. I looked at it and it talked about it's also different than lucid dreaming. What's the difference between lucid dreaming and astral projecting?
Well, a lot of authors on the subject, when it comes to astral projection, they believe that we're doing this every night, like I mentioned earlier. We're just not usually aware that we're doing it. We're kind of in an observer state. When you have a lucid dream, generally, and for a lot of people it can be different, but at least for me and the general public, you have a realization that you're dreaming. And then that realization causes your objective awareness to kind of collapse into that scene. And you are there as you are here now. So all of a sudden, abruptly, you're in a scene, you're there. But when it comes to lucid dreaming, usually you're kind of in a space that you can manipulate easily. Like you hear stories about people like, oh, I just can use my imagination to make up whatever I want, different actors, and like I can change the scenery, and you can just manipulate everything you want. With an astral projection, you might have that same feeling in terms of that physicality feeling there, but you can't change everything. The energy can be set and stable. We don't know exactly why right now. We're still trying to figure that out. You can go to areas that are populated, but not by things that you have thought up. There are things that are already there, and the energy is already stable and unchanging. So that's the big difference. Kevin, if you have some other ones to interject with?
I'll just say one thing. With a lucid dream, you become lucid or aware usually halfway to the end. You're watching your dream unfold, then out of nowhere, if it's a dream sign, dream figure, what reality check, you're like, wait, I'm dreaming. But with astral projection, though, you're actually aware, you're lucid the moment of separation takes place. Everyone, I'm going to say everyone here who does separation, you will have a very objective separation process. It's unique to everyone, but you will have an experience that you cannot deny. And from the moment that experience starts, you're aware. And that goes without saying. You got to remain calm during the separation to continue the process. And that's how you know you're really having an astral projection.
I know that currently they talk about different dimensions in quantum physics and being another dimension. My last guest also talked about there being other dimension. Have you experienced traveling to other dimensions?
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's like you exit right into a different one. You're not in the physical anymore. You're outside of it. Like if you can imagine that the earth and everything on it, all the energy that makes up this physical universe kind of casts a shadow into the dimensions near it. And that's what you kind of exit into. It's not a one by one copy of this physical reality. It looks very similar, but kind of the farther away you move from it in 5D, the more it can change. And so it's strange. Like if you imagine a color gradient and every slice is like a different level of energy that could have inhabit anything on it, different structures, different beings, different. It's like that. It's too big to even fathom. It's hard for us to fathom this physical universe, but then imagine you have an unlimited number of them stacked on top of each other. You just can't see them, kind of thing. They can move between. That's almost what you're doing here.
Yeah. And like Bret said, that's just one dimension, we call it the astral dimension, the astral plane, the realm, whatever. Another one is, there's that dreamscape or sometimes we use the word that personalized dimension, like a pocket dimension. A dream's a little bit different that Bret just went over in the previous question, but you can go into an area like that and have those experiences where kind of manipulating things and you have figures. But that's a second dimension. Then, you hear these angelic dimensions. If you raise your vibrations even higher, you can go high above to these realms where there's angels and spirits. In one other thing I'll mention is that real time zone. We can classify that as another dimension, but that dimension is more physical, low vibration, and that's where things become more one-to-one, like a near-death experience. So like Bret said, the dimensions that you're able to explore and experience is really infinite, and you can do it all if you really wanted to.
Interesting. Have you ever contacted a deceased loved one or someone who's passed away?
I actually have a story. I was not looking for the individual. It just happened. I did go out of body recently where someone was trying to get my attention. I teleported to an area. Someone was like, "Hey, Kevin, I'm over here." And when you're projecting, you have like 20/20 vision. I was able to zoom in, saw the person, instantly teleport. And it was a deceased family member. I mentioned, "Hey, I love you, I miss you." The person said, "I love you, I miss you too." We hugged and we said goodbye, and I continued my astral journey. And that was one time I met someone who was deceased. And for me, it was real. It was totally, totally real.
I could see how that would be a transformative experience. Many times when you have spiritual experiences or experiences that take you out of the body, they're hard to describe and even harder to bring something back from that experience. I was interested to hear how you brought something back from your ayahuasca experience.
Yeah. Well, one thing we like to do with astral projection is actually find a astral double, someone who you know, and ask them personal questions. Take those answers and report them back to that person. And a lot of those questions is questions they didn't even know the answers to. Health questions, relationship questions, unconscious questions. Like my wife, for example, used to ask me, "Go ask my astral double why do I have this health condition? Ask them how we could do better in our relationship." And I'll come back with these answers, and they literally changed the way I see things, our relationships, and even got health conditions to be better over time because of what we pulled from the astral realm.
And a lot of people have health conditions. I might take it up myself if I could find find a little time. I'm not getting any younger either.
That's true stuff. Everything's energy. That's all there is to it. And our health is part of that energy. And we can start to see what in us, energetic wise, is causing that condition. and even in the astral plane, you can start to cure that energetic frequency for perfect health right now.
What seems to be the primary thing people are interested in when they come to your institute?
I think they're just they're just looking for more ways on how to get out of the body. I think that's the biggest one, because people read about it and they'll see it online, and there's a bunch of different TikToks or things like that and different social media talking about it, not going into a lot of depth. But when they go to our site, they want to try to find something that's a little bit easier. I think that's what usually when it comes to this, people, and it's a human thing, right? You want to kind of skip to the end. It's like, I want that thing now, like if there's a way that I don't have to put in all the work to do it, then I want to find the quick and easy. And we were trying to find a balance between that, because it does take some work. It does take some subconscious work. You need to have that intent. You need to have that belief. You need to be free of doubt. You need to go for it, right? With a clear mind. And that is required in any practice when it comes to this. But when it comes to the easy front, we tried to find something that at least anybody can try, and the general populace can find that they'll get to that space relatively quickly with what we've provided. So I think when it comes to the majority, I think that's what they're trying to look for, is something that is a little bit easier to follow, that will work in a shorter amount of time than, say, meditating, which may take years.
Mm-hmm. And we truly stand by that, John. How our institute, our flagship program, Wake to Projection Blueprint, it is the shortcuts. It is the quickest, the easiest, straightforward way to get our body tonight, and we stand by that.
Interesting. Tell me, each of you, what has been the biggest change in your life as a result of your astral projection? Okay, Kevin, why don't you go first?
All right. What I can tell you, John, it's remember to remember. Out of all of this, it really resonates with me that we are energetic beings having a human incarnation. If that is true, then there are there are laws that control energy, spiritual laws, universal laws, energetic laws, whatever verbiage, like manifestation, cause and effect, epigenetics. It just really resonates with me. What you think is what you're going to attract. And by astral projecting just proves that I'm energy, we're energy, everything's energy, and everything will have a consequence because of energy.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly had hard experiences with karma and universal law. And
Yeah.
I am a believer.
Mm-hmm.
I believe some of our political people need a quick lesson.
For sure.
We shall see.
What about you, Bret?
Well, personally, I grew up in a very strict Christian cult, basically, and I kind of wanted to figure out, okay, I want to see if there's anything that I can see for myself. I wanted to experience something for myself. What I got out of it mostly was kind of a clear mind when it comes to death. It made me a lot less afraid of actually dying, because there's so much more out there. It's crazy. It's like right now we're on a backwater planet, in the middle of nowhere, in a huge physical universe that we have no idea what's out there. And then you have this, which we can also explore from our bedroom. And that's outside of this whole thing. I think it's all consciousness. But for me, it's that even after you pass on this very short life here, there's so much more to explore and experience. It basically never stops. It's ever changing. So it's taken a lot of the fear away from me. And when it comes to loved ones dying too, I'm less less affected by it. Not in a bad way. I just mean, I know they're still around, not technically dead.
Yeah, amen to that.
I tend to be a believer, more of a believer in reincarnation,
Mm-hmm.
and that this is just one cycle,
Yep.
on an endless cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's another good question? Have you ever had clients come to you with specific problems that they wanted you to address?
Hold on, guys. Maybe, I'm sorry, but we have less than a minute on this call.
All right.
We can table that question. Should I start up another video and we can have another 40 minutes to close it out, do your outro or anything?
I think we're okay. I think we're okay. Why don't you guys go ahead and wrap it up a little bit then, and I'll cut some of this out. In conclusion.
Well, in conclusion, I mean, if you want to learn more about the topic, please come to our website, astraltravelerinstitute.com. We have all the free tools there in order to get you out of body at least tonight or maybe in a few nights. But yeah, thank you for having us. If Kevin, did you have anything else you wanted to throw in really quick?
Well, John, we'll see you on the Astral.
Most likely you will.
Awesome.
Thank you guys very much for a period of hi. Well, there we go. Well, that was the guys from Astral Travelers Institute. So today I wanted to read a little bit from I asked the I Ching. I'm very disturbed about the stuff that's going on as well. And I asked the I Ching for a brief reading. And this is what it gave me for this morning. I thought it was quite appropriate. And the first one was 32, duration. Receiving this hexagram is an encouragement to endure, to move ahead by abiding in what is true and correct. It is not a time to let the ego swell with success, nor to despair at misfortunes. It is simply a time to hold to the path of essential truth. It is likely that a change has occurred or is about to. It is your responsibility to hold your course and go on without regarding this change. Consistency in correct thought and action is the order of the day. Rather than letting your head be turned, simply hold steady on your spiritual path while the world reforms around you. Do not indulge in judgment, impatience, or ambitious thinking now. By concerning yourself only with what is essential and true and good, only with what is in front of you and your correct relationship to it, you meet with good fortune now. And then the changing line, there is danger of being swayed by external circumstances. To measure or compare is to depart from the path and to invite misfortune. And then the second reading it gave me was deliverance. And that is, it comes off the changing line. I'll just read a little bit. Well, I'll just let deliverance go. You can take a look at it. Deliverance is 40 in the I Ching. I did a little bit of a reading on it yesterday, and just changing economic circumstance. And what it basically told me is I will personally be all right. And I don't have anything to worry about. Things are going to change. And what else? Oh, and to just wait for the dust to settle. Do not, and this was a tarot reading, to wait for the dust to settle and just sit around and wait and don't make any moves. And the wife and I talked about it last night. And patience, I think, is the order of the day. We need to have patience and watch and wait. But let's ask the tarot. Let's do a quick tarot reading. My ability to read tarot is a gift, an expression of divine love. And I'm here to share it with you in that same spirit. So we're going to ask the tarot. We're going to ask the tarot, what path, 3 cards, what path should we follow during this time of real concern? You know, we all have real economic concern. So what path should we follow during this period of economic tension? And I'm using the Hanson's. I think that's what it's. I forget the name of the deck. The Hanson-Roberts deck. So what path should we follow during this period of economic concern? My first card is the Ace of Cups. The second card, the Knight of Swords. And the third card, the Ten of Cups. So really kind of positive, positive cards. Odin, free up, please help guide us reading. Let's throw some runes. And what path shall we follow during this period of economic concern? Ace of Cups, Knight of Swords, Ten of Cups. And my first rune is Dagaz. Well, it usually has to do with breakthrough. My second rune for the Knight of Swords is Thuraz. And these are runes I made. If you'd like me to make you a set of runes, let me know. I'll make you a set of runes. I don't know what I'll charge. $30 or so, make you a set of runes. Living runes, which means they're alive. They will speak to you. But you will have to initiate them yourself. And the third rune is called, Ewas. So do a quick reading on these. And also, if you have concerns concerning the general, that concern all of us, or questions for the tarot, send me a note, drop me a line, just leave a comment on YouTube. And if you would like me to mention your city, leave a comment on YouTube, and I'll mention your city or your town. I mentioned Montana and Edinburgh. Those were both some requests. So in regards to what's going on right now, the Ace of Cups has to do with relationships and feelings, and how we all learn from each relationship that we have in our life. Each relationship has something to teach us, has something special to teach us. And I think the tarot is asking us to consider what is really important in our life. I mean, yes, it's important to have financial resources. Yes, it's important to have a place to live. But focus on your relationships. Focus on the people in your life. And if you focus on the people of your life and understand that is what's truly important, you'll have a breakthrough. You'll have a little light in the darkness. I remember during COVID times, with the darkest period during COVID times, some of my fondest memories when I would sit here with my family, and man, I was scared. I had stuff going on at work. I was facing it, and we would order a pizza on Friday, and we'd just all sit together, eat pizza on Friday. And I think I ran the Munsters on TV. We watched 60s television and eating pizza, and we had a wonderful time. And that was the most important thing that happened during that period. So focus on your relationships, focus on your family, and if you don't have those types of relationships, maybe focus on finding a type of relationship. And then the Knight of Swords is always somebody who wants to dash, who wants to dash into action. He wants to be energetic. He wants to forcefully move forward. But also, the Knight of Swords, there is a caveat with that some people, no matter how hard you try, you'll never be able to help them see their deficits, see their shortcomings. So, and really one of the things you want to do with the Knight of Swords is take a look. Don't dash into things. Take a look at what's going on. Be patient. Don't plan ahead, but don't move forward right now with any major plans or major financial plans, because we have the rune of Thuraz, the thorn. We have a big thorn in our economic picture right now, but this thorn can also be a sign of protection. It can also be a sign of protection in that if you were to be living inside a thorn circle, you're protected. So don't rush forward, and you'll be protected. And then the Ten of Cups, again, it talks about family, relationship, happiness. That's the future. And the future, this thing is going to resolve. But in order to resolve, we need to have a little patience. That rune is called Ewas. Ewas is a rune of delay, of wait. In order to reach that Ten of Cups, that period of happiness, there's going to be a period of delay and of waiting. So I want you to focus on your relationships, and you'll find a breakthrough. You'll find some relief from the tension that's going on. You have the Knight of Swords. Don't and Thuraz, it's recommending that you don't rush forward with any major financial plans. And then the Ten of Cups, we're going to get through this. There's going to be happiness on the other side. And I don't know what's going to happen. I didn't ask specifically what's going to happen with our current economic plan, but there's going to be a delay. So just hang on for a delay. And as I started this podcast, I told you I would help you get through difficult times. I was able to recognize there's going to be difficult times, and I'm going to help you get through it because we're all in this together, whether you're MAGA, a Democrat, or independent. We're all in the same boat. We're all in this together. So we got to get through this together. So let's just hang in there and do this together, and we'll get through it together. And I think that's our path forward. So for this week, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up.
Goodbye, Professor Marvel, and thanks a lot.
Well, it was my pleasure. I hope I was helpful during these distressing times. And remember,
Professor Marvel never guesses, he knows.
so be careful, be cool, be kind, have courage, find faith. And I will see you all again next week. Send me a note if you would like a personal reading or if you would like me to mention your city or town, and I'd be glad to do that. Okay, everybody, have a great week.